I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Crootin. This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. Now, you did what now?
Buffalo chicken dip with chicken tendies.
My goodness.
You're a madman.
Hey, the little bit of crispy breading in there.
Oh,
I want to tell you,
God.
It was elite.
You're
elite.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Like, do you realize you're a psycho? That's incredible.
Like, in the best way possible.
Like I'm in awe of you.
You just got to think of these ideas. Like, what greatness could I accomplish with the Chicken Express tender pack?
That's what's so funny is that, and that's just the difference in the way you think. I look at the tender and I'm just like, oh, awesome! Look, a delicious chicken tender for me to eat. And you look at a delicious Chicken Express chicken tender and you go, this is a tool to accomplish.
It's a shovel.
Yeah. How can I mold this into whatever I want it to be?
Make no mistake, the Express tender is perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you've plussed it up.
Yeah, you can change it. You can use it.
Incredible. What a man. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, we're going to Katy to talk about Katy 2026 defensive tackle Daryl Campbell, who this week was named a DCTF 3-star prospect. 6'3", 315 pounds. Picked up a couple of offers as well on the heels of being named to Dave Campbell's Texas Football 3-star. Maryland and Vanderbilt, and he is a guy who is going to be picking up a little bit of momentum here as the defensive tackle from Katy Pato is a run-stopping dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to become a sneaky good defensive tackle class. Crush Johnson, the prospect on the rise a couple weeks ago, committed to Texas Tech. Daryl Campbell, I mean, he's like the prototypical interior defender, right? Big, strong, uses his hands really well to get off of blocks, and is just a run-stopping force. And, of course, you know he's getting plenty of great coaching from Katy Pato's David Hicks Sr., who is the head coach there, who's a defensive line expert in his own right, and you can see that expertise popping on Campbell's film. That's why he's the latest DCTF 3-star. He's also locked in official visits with SMU, Texas Tech, North Carolina, and Houston. And I find that interesting because players are locking in these official visits. Recruiting's moving a little bit quicker than it was last year because Campbell's just now earning his 3rd star, but he's already got 4 official visits locked in. That's throwing the process into a little bit of turmoil is not the right word.
It's accelerating the process.
It's accelerating the process and kind of flipping it on its head a little bit because these colleges are finding out more and more about these guys early because of the January visit schedule where they're able to go into these high schools and see these kids firsthand.
Daryl Campbell accelerating through the A gap and also accelerating his recruiting process. Our latest DCTF 3-star prospect there at Katy Pato. Let's roll on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week. Let's talk about the Woodlands quarterback Jack Dalton, a 2026 guy who pulled the trigger this week to TCU. Had offers from places like Rice, UTSA, and Tulane. A true dual threat who had a really nice junior year there for the Highlanders. Jack Dalton joining what is suddenly a pretty loaded quarterback room there for TCU.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I love that you mentioned his ability as a dual threat because he almost put up as many rushing yards as he did passing yards. Plenty of touchdowns. I think he scored 44, 45 total touchdowns last season, so put up really big numbers. That Woodlands offense is an offense that had to regroup after losing some of its firepower at wide receiver and some of the other positions. Of course, Mabry Matauer, who went on to Wisconsin and is now at Sam Houston. Jack Dalton stepped in for him in a full-time role this year and excelled. And I like his overall upside. He's a prospect that I'm looking forward to seeing more throughout the course of the spring, and I think that he is good enough as a passer to be considered as a P4 guy. but has an extra element to him that not a lot of quarterbacks possess in his ability to really, really test defenses on the ground.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I remember a time, and I'm old enough to remember, when, like, the Woodlands was not like a quarterback factory. It was they would run the ball. They were running game and defense is what they were. But in just the past, like, 8 years, let's say, suddenly, like, you go to the Woodlands, you're like, oh, yeah, they're going to have a dude at QB1, and Jack Dalton is the latest of that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that the Woodlands has done a tremendous job of putting one of these top guys out in every class, and Jack Dalton's next in line. He's already made his commitment to TCU, so TCU has their quarterback in the 2026 class, and that allows them to concentrate on some of the other spots.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting, here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Let's round it all out with our underclassman of the week, and our underclassman of the week is Flower Mound Marcus, 2027 quarterback Colton Nussmeier.
The Nuss Bus.
Who's had a pretty good week. Because actually pretty good. So earlier this week, he accepted an invitation to the 2026 Navy All-American Bowl. It's a DCTF 4-star, 20 offers. Great. He also just watched his dad win a Super Bowl as Doug Nussmeier, his father, is the quarterback's coach for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm glad you picked up on that because got to see Colton standing on the field after yesterday's game with, his brother is Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback at LSU. So it was cool to see both the Nussmeiers that we've covered in Texas high school football getting to celebrate that championship with their father. That was a pretty cool moment, and things are really going good for Nussmeier right now. I think, like, this is a bold prediction, but we've been out there on a few bold predictions as it relates to quarterbacks in recent years. I think Colton Nussmeier is the odds-on favorite to be the top prospect in his class in Texas high school football in 2027. Already picking up tons of accolades, so he has a chance to be one of the top-rated quarterbacks in DCTF's rankings history, which began in 2012. So over class of 2027, over the span of 15 years, he has a chance to be one of the top 2 or 3 highest-rated quarterbacks that Texas has produced.
So what you're saying here is, like, because I think people, you see the name Nussmeier, and I think people are thinking Garrett, of course, because what he's done at LSU has been great. And he was a pretty big prospect himself coming out. You're saying
top 25. He was top 25
guy. So he was a 4-star.
Yeah.
You're saying Colton Nussmeier right now has a chance to be a better prospect?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he's a top 10 in the state lock and then pushing up for that number 1 spot. There's only been one quarterback rated ahead of number 4 in the state, and that was Quinn Ewers, who was number 1 in his cycle when he reclassified up one year. I think he reclassified from 2022 to 2021. The next highest rated quarterbacks after that, Kyler Murray at number 4. So Keelan Russell was also number 4 this year. So to go above number 4 is like I would say, like, that's a line of demarcation in the rankings. Quinn Ewers is the highest rated one so far.
Remarkable. Colton Nussmeier is a name to know there. He will be in the Navy All-American game and probably helping his dad size the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important to note because of the Navy All-American Bowl now allows underclassmen to play in it. He will be an underclassman playing in the upcoming Navy All-American Bowl, not necessarily in his class in 20. He'll be playing in 2026.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's the former Army All-American Bowl.
Right.
Now it's the Navy All-American Bowl. Same game.
Playing
in San Antonio. From your perspective, because this past year was the first time they allowed underclassmen to play. Was that a win for the All-American Bowl? And from your perspective, as far as being able to analyze prospects?
I enjoyed both games a little bit better. I thought it brought a unique factor to the games. Keyshawn Henderson, 2026 athlete committed to Houston, played quarterback in the game, was the MVP winner. So he was one of the first underclassmen to play in the game and certainly the first underclass MVP. So that was pretty cool. So I think it gives it a unique factor. I like it.
Our underclassman MVP is Greg Powers. Director.
I'll take that, I guess. I'll take that.
Follow him on Twitter at GPowersCutsies. Find work at TexasFootball.com.
At least you didn't say I'm here celebrating my 25-year reunion.
That you're not, are you?
No.